Cafe Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Ria, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from Boston is Justine Beauregard, an award-winning sales strategist and coach, podcast host at The People Over Profit. So Justine, how to avoid feast and famine cycles in business?
Yes, such a great question. I think so many people start their business with the greatest of expectations that they're just going to have the leads flowing in and the sales closing, and it's just going to be constant throughout their journey. But what I find is that usually in the beginning, there are these cycles where you have high income months and low income months. And the key to avoiding those feast and famine cycles is to meet people at different stages of what we call the buyer's cycle. So there are people who are not aware of you yet. There are people who are considering working with you. And then there are people who are ready to buy today. And in order to avoid the feast and famine cycles, you really need to reach all three groups simultaneously. So you are reaching people who are not quite ready and you're warming them up. You're meeting the people who are ready for something. They don't know if it's you or someone else. And so they're already warmed up, but they need to be a little hotter. And then the people who are ready to decide to buy right now, you need to get in front of them and tell them why that's the best decision they can make today.
Each one of those cycles, people are searching, right? If they don't even know what they want, they're out searching. They're looking for something, maybe just to help them with their idea. But when you get to the deciding portion, that it's pretty much gelled, right? But what you do, you offer throughout all three cycles?
Yes. So there's slightly nuanced language that we're going to use. And a lot of people like to find new leads through social media. So we'll use that as an example. If you're on social media trying to meet people who are in that first stage of the buyer cycle, really becoming aware of what you do, then you're going to be creating more aspirational content. So that's for the person who, let's say that you're looking to sell branding services to somebody and you say, having an amazing brand makes you easily searchable on Google and in ChatGPT. It makes you recognizable and memorable to your best customers. It helps you emote the values of your brand quickly with your ideal buyers. And so that is more aspirational. That's like an education type post where people are learning a little more about what you do, but they're not ready to buy in this moment because if they were ready to buy, they would know all those things already. They would be looking for a solution. The people who are considering looking for a solution, those people need to have access to content that's a little more nuanced to who you are and your specific brand. So differentiation between you and your competition, or what I call your worthy rivals, per Simon Sinek. So what he talks about is there's all these people in your space. It's a crowded space, not a problem to be in a saturated market. That proves demand. But when you're in that space, you really want to focus on what makes me different and special. And so you're talking about your IP, your intellectual property. You're talking about what your process looks like in working with you so that they can decide if that's something they want to opt into and follow as well. You're talking about your core values as a brand. This is why I call my discovery calls with clients a vibe check. Because I want to make sure we vibe together, that we actually like each other. Because the last thing I want to do is work with somebody who I don't like on a personal level, right?
That's life.
Sometimes, but
but truly, that's what we see in relationship, and more selling is relationships.
Yes.
When you take everything out, put all the robots away, but still relationships, and people like to talk to people they like. People generally don't like to talk to people that they don't like. They may talk, but they may not hear.
Yes. It's so freeing to be able to decide very quickly, I like this person or I don't like this person. And even more deeply, which I think it's less about, do we watch the same TV shows or travel to the same spots? It's more about, do I like this person? Do I believe in what they're saying? Do I trust them? Is this somebody that I truly want to put my backing behind? Because as a service-based entrepreneur who serves other service-based entrepreneurs, I certainly don't want to sell to somebody that I don't believe in their offers, or I don't think their business is legitimate, or I don't think their personality is good, because if I attach myself to their wagon, then now everyone is assuming whatever is about them that's true is also true for me, which is, that power of transference. You are who you're surrounded by. So we have to be really mindful.
That's protecting your own brand.
That's right. Exactly.
Well, I took two things that you said. I would expand on that. And one of the things that struck me as you said, make them aware of what you do. And that's like 24/7.
Yes.
But to that, what you just said, it's not only of what you do, it's who you are.
Yes. So, and it's also, a lot of people think are my audience, or is my audience going to get sick of me saying the same things over and over? And, are they going to be bothered if I'm talking about an offer that they might not be interested in right now? And my response to that is always, imagine you walk into a grocery store and they have a promo on oranges this week. Are you going to be like, I don't really like oranges, or I have a citrus allergy, I'm walking out? No, you went there for bananas.
Right.
So you're going to just ignore the orange sale and you're going to walk right past it. Most people won't even see the content that's not applicable to them because they're flooded with all the other stuff out there. So that's one part of it. Another part of it is also the fact that in an ideal world, in your business, you're constantly networking and growing and meeting new people. And you're not creating the content for people who've seen every single post and have been in your audience and following you for 5 years. You're creating this content for people who just met you yesterday and who will meet you tomorrow. And so that's why you need the blend. And so that third group, which is really ideally for the ready buyer, that's the relatable content. That's the bucket that I call relatable. And why I call it that is because it's a beautiful blend of all the things someone needs to hear to make a decision. So they need to know that you understand their problem better than they do. They need to know that you've been there before or helped somebody who's been there before. They need to know what it looks like to work with you and how you work with people. So giving examples, not just sharing testimonials that are, so-and-so had this experience or client A had this experience, but looking at that and going, how do I distill that and maybe put it into a story so I can help them see themselves in the story? And then most importantly, at the end, you always have a call to action that is their best next step for buying that thing. So whether it's getting on a discovery call with you, maybe a vibe check if you're like me, or if you have an application or a direct link to buy, you're making it easy for them to say yes. And this is where a lot of people miss the mark, because we assume if they read this amazing story, they're going to want it and they're going to take the initiative to go figure out how to get it. And they don't.
Well, to that, how can our listeners find you to have that vibe check?
Yes. So they can go to my Instagram, which is at Justine Beauregard Coach. They can go to my website, JustineBeauregard.com, which is BeauregArD. And they can also find me with People Over Profit. So if you love podcasts here, you're probably going to love mine too.
Very good. Well, Justine, thanks for being with us and sharing today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And again, you can remember more information about her on her website and also LinkedIn and TikTok. So it's Justine Beauregard. Cafe Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Cafe and Networking Podcast.